Moving objects with Pygame. Now as we have learned how to add images, we can finally bring mechanics to our game elements using Pygame. So the aim of this article is to make you learn how to make Pygame elements move. All in all, we will learn how to move images using arrow keys. So let's begin. First of all, let's create a blank window and then add background color to it. To do so, we will write the following code. Import Pygame, pygame.init, screen equals pygame.display.setMode in parentheses and in another parentheses 800, 600. Title pygame.display.setCaption. Copy assignment. Is running equals true. Creating game loop. While is running is double equals true. Screen.fill 167 145 55 for event in pygame.event.get. If event.type equals pygame.quit, is running equals false. Pygame.display.update. Now the image that I'm using to demonstrate the movement can be downloaded using the following link in the description. Now put it inside your working directory and then load it in your game using Pygame. So to do that, we will write the following code. Player equals pygame.image.load. Now we need to specify the initial x and y coordinate. So we will define two variables that will contain x and y coordinate of the player on our game window. Let's assume the initial coordinates of the player be 375, 500. As our game window is of size 800 by 600, this coordinate will set our image somewhere at the bottom center. And now let's write screen.blit in our game loop before updation. And now let's change the values of player X and player Y to check that it is changing the position or not. Now before adding motion, we need to understand the concept of it. As we have already defined the x and y coordinate of the game, now we need to change them in order to change the position of the player. But how does changing the x and y coordinate change the player's position? Changing x and y coordinate changes the player position because of screen.blit. As we know that screen.blit adds images on our screen at a certain coordinate that it takes as one of its necessary arguments. So when we change x and y, the screen.blit changes the position of the image to the new x and y coordinates that are passed in it. So what we exactly want is when upward key is pressed, the player should move up, and just like that, we want our player to move with respect to the type of key that is pressed. So now we will use the event module from Pygame. Earlier in our video, we used that event module to detect the event that is happening on our game window, which was the quit event. So now in this article, we will dive deeper into the concept of events. Events in Pygame. An event is basically anything that is happening on your screen, and Pygame gives us very easy way to detect those events. Pygame has an event module for interacting with events and queues. There are many functions in Pygame event module like pygame.event.pump, pygame.event.get, .poll, .wait, .peak, .clear. There are a lot. But in this video we will be focusing on event.get method. as it will help us to gather the information about the event that has happened on our game window. It has no necessary argument, so we can leave the parentheses blank. As we will be using event.get method, we need to know its syntax and how to use it. In our previous video, we ran a for loop inside our game loop that checks all the events that are happening on our screen. It was a for loop and had a variable that contained the pygame.event.get, whatever the pygame.event.get was passing inside it. And then inside the for loop, we check the type of event by using an if statement. If event.type equals pygame.quit, then set is running equals false. And just like that, we will detect our other events, which can be key down or key up or many more. Here are some events provided to us by Pygame, like quit, active event, key down, key up, mouse motion, mouse button up. There are a lot. Yes, in this also there are a lot. The above table contains all the events that can occur from a keyboard, mouse or a joystick. To handle our events, we simply loop through the queue to check what type of event it is and then perform some action. So we know all these types of events, but how will we know that what key was pressed on keyboard so that we can move our player? To do so, we first need to check if the key was even pressed or not. To check the key was pressed or not, we can write the following statement inside our for loop. If event.type is double equals pygame.keydown, key down in uppercase with no parentheses. And now we will write something. In this we will write print key was pressed, and we will do another if statement. If event.type double equals pygame.keyup, print key was released. Now instead of printing a key was pressed or key was released, we can simply put an if statement to check what key constant was there if the button was pressed. So if it was like an upward key, then the key constant would be k underscore up. Here are some key constants on your screen right now. Now let's learn about moving an object with Pygame. So as we learned earlier that to move an image or anything in Pygame, we just need to change the coordinate of the x and y direction. So this is what we'll do. So let's create two variables. One that will contain the change happening on x direction, and one that will contain change happening in the y direction. So when the key is pressed, and if the key was right, then add some value to x change, and if the key is left arrow key, then subtract the value from that exchange. So, and after that we will add exchange to the coordinate of our player, and just like this we will do for the y direction. Yes, just like this. So now let's write the code. And in event dot type equals pygame.keydown, we will write if event.key equals pygame.k underscore up, k underscore up. So every key constant should be in uppercase. Then we will change the value of y by subtracting it, it will just take the position more upward. And if even.key equals pygame.k underscore down, then add value to y change. If even.key equals pygame.k underscore left, then subtract value from exchange. And if even.key equals pygame.k underscore right, then add the value. And when we release the key, we want our player to stop its position, so when pygame.key up happens, we will change the exchange and y change to 0. So now we will add exchange and y change to player x and player y respectively. And after that we have screen.blit, and it will just paste your image to whatever the coordinate that is specified. So you see, every time the key is pressed, the value changes, and so does the position of our image. Now let's try to run it. Notice that player can even cross the boundary of our game. To stop that, we need to check if the player is touching our boundaries or not. So we will simply write that if player x plus exchange is greater than the maximum y coordinate, or player x plus exchange is less than 0, because 0 is the leftmost coordinate. And so we will do this for the y direction also. Player y plus y change is greater than 565, or player y plus y change is less than 0. Then set player x plus equals 0 and player y plus equals 0, else player x plus equals exchange and player y plus equals y change. So now let's run it. So now it's running perfectly. So that is it for this video. Thank you for watching.